taxing is not going to cover all the costs of the transit system. And that funding is subsidized. It subsidizes our service. It doesn't pay for it. It can't, because it's just not enough money there. The estimate of 100 riders on a bus taking 15 minutes, well, I can't imagine 100 riders fit on any of our buses that we have. I think they're like 40 or 50. Yeah.
No, that's 100 on and off. I mean, getting off.
That's semantics. I don't think it's going to take that long. And the last statement I want to make, because I'm going to tell you, and especially with the 411, the people that elected me are a vast majority of the people that take advantage of the 411 system, and they have told me repeatedly, over and over and over again, I don't think there's a trip I make to Camino where I've not told this, and people on this island in District 3 have told me this, that they are more than willing to pay a fare for the 411 service to continue. So if we have a fare system-wide that is going to pull in enough money to allow us to continue that service, it's taking people from Island County to Island County, it would be justifiable for the people that are just on the south end over here perhaps, or doing in-county connections, to help to pay for that, because the tax dollars from all of the county are what go into that 0.9. So when you look at it from that picture, the fare system, and if you want to do it all the way through or do it in stages, whether you start with the 411, which seems to me to make the most sense because that'd be the easiest place to start, with the understanding you're going to go ahead and continue it on down. The question remains, how much will that cost to put a fare system in place, and how much can we expect that we can charge that is not going to put too much of a burden on people and help to sustain the system? It is not meant to pay for the system. It's meant to help sustain the system.
And that's what the whole purpose of you helping us to do, correct? I see 3 heads nodded out there, so this is what we're going to do. We need that help. So,
but the choice in front of us is how they go about it.
Yeah.
And I'm in favor of a comprehensive study that looks at everything, and then we can go back in and say, does this route make sense, or does that route make sense, rather than starting with the 412 because the grant's there. My preference is, having seen this laid out this way, that we look at the entire structure and system and say what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And because I don't want to start just on those connector routes. I don't think we'll be able to collect enough fares to sustain them. I think that's going to be a problem for us in the long run, and I'd rather see the big picture to see if we can collect enough revenues comprehensively to sustain those routes.
Let me restate my suggestion that we look at 411, W 41112, and we look at separately the same package with our internal. That's a comprehensive review of our whole system, and we have a menu there to find out which one is going to be the weak proposal, which one is going to work. We have some, at least we have a starting. Is that clear for all of you? Yeah. Can you do that?
But in phases or not in phases?
No, this is all at one time.
That's what I'm saying. Comprehensive.
Yeah.
So are we going to run the 412 or not?
No, we're not talking about running it. We're talking about the study right now, okay? We're Lance.
Okay.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, but I absolutely agree with the whole system should be looked at, because eventually that's what's going to happen. If we're just looking at one particular route, eventually the state is going to say, yes, but this is what you have to do. And it's obvious we have to start charging fares. Now, to say that the others have a prepaid system, it's only partially correct. Community Transit, for example, right now, as was explained, is they're looking to maximize the sales tax. At the same time, they're raising fares. It's a double-edged sword. The public knows the fares are going up, and now there'll be a big campaign to get them on board for agreeing to increase 0.3% on the sales tax, which maximizes it out. and it still doesn't cover the cost of the operation. It's a loser, but it's a responsibility to the citizens. So I really think that the board, if we had an opportunity to sit down, and with all due respect, Ken, it's an awful lot of information for you to take in and convey back to the board. But if this board could sit down with the representative of Skagit and Whatcom, for example, to answer and to ask our questions and for their responses on how they came to their structure. I've worked over 45 years. I don't mean to talk about me, but back in the East Coast, we had, for example, on some routes, 15 different zones. There are zones compared to the area, and in some cases, population. 15 zones, and you're absolutely right, Jim. Once we implement a fare structure, the time will increase. And depending on how much the ridership is, it could increase significantly. And then you're going to have to deal with, no, I'm not paying. No, why should I pay? BAB, all this stuff. Operators, and there will be eventually some operators getting in trouble because they retaliated after getting smacked or spat upon. Not so much here in this rural area, but just go across the pond, and it happens every single day in Seattle. I know, I live there, I represent it down there, and it is horrible. The legislature down in Seattle is thinking currently of proposing a rule that anybody can walk by, don't pay any fare. No security saying, wait a minute, come here, you've done this before, you're not going to do it again, you're not going to ride. They're basically considering giving permission for people to walk by and say, I ain't paying. That's scary. So that's all I have.
Well, I think answering at least my view of the 0.9%, that basically is our base funding from contribution from our community to have a system, to have the system. This system doesn't support the 411. That's why we get legislative support on that. The legislature is saying, we are going to give you these funds, but we want you to charge. That's the message that they're sending to us. Fair enough? And so let's move along. Let's tell them what we want on a system-wide process. The 412, what does that mean? Charging fares, what the fare should be. What's the cost? 411s, both of those, and our system-wide area. Tell us what that is. Tell us how long it'll take for you to get back to us.
Before you do that, I know speaking out of turn, but I have two thoughts. One is, it is a lot to absorb, but I think there are a number of transit agencies that would be willing to come here and do a presentation to all of you or to a subcommittee so that you could hear from Mason Trains, or you can hear from Grace Harbor, who has 8% fare box recovery. You can hear from Whatcom and Skagit. So, I could even Link Transit at our June board meeting. Their finance director offered to come over and talk about what it costs to implement and operate. Link is in Wenatchee, and they're small urban, but they have long rural runs.
Right.
So they're an interesting.
And they
mix.
charge $250 from Leavenworth to Wenatchee.
So I'm just suggesting that before you even get into a study and just have someone come present a study,
Okay.
you may just want to have some panel come talk to you to get some sense of the different types of fare structures that are out.
What is the mechanism for setting that up, Ken? Or
Next board meeting is, probably the next workshop would be the appropriate time.
So that's September 14th, and both you guys will be there.
and what?
The
Greg
two
and
commissioners
Jill
are,
will not be at the next September
And there would be
workshop.
time.
If you keep it that
We can
day.
move on without them.
If you keep it on the first Monday.
So
Well, we can change the date.
I thought part of
Where
the
we
fare study was some of that analysis to figure out what systems are out there, what those systems cost, what our connecting counties would be, what we would be working with. And I'm happy to meet with the other transit agencies, but I thought you were going to do that work for us a little bit. So in terms of getting us our options and kind of sorting through what those would look like and the costs associated with them.
I think what Jerry's talking about is helping the board understand what what's out there. It's more just a board education from the other systems. What we're talking about, and I think it would be done together. What I would propose is that we would put together a scope to share with Ken and work with Ken on laying out that scope. And then coming back to you and saying, this is how these are the questions that we're answering with a review process. And I think Jerry's idea is a valid one as well. To just help you, give you people to ask your questions of, things that they've experienced before.
So let's move forward with doing that, but I have to bring to the attention here that on our notice for this meeting, it was 9:30 to 11:30, and I let it slip by without having a vote to extend this. That'd be appropriate.
We don't need a vote on the workshop extension, but
You're not just, yeah, you're not going to take any other action, so you can extend it as long as you want to. Just want you to extend it till it's adjourned.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to extend till we adjourn.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's carried.
okay.
Very good, Jesse. I just didn't want to mess up on that one. Okay, so let's summarize what we want the DOT staff to do for us. System-wide review. Prepare work with our staff for a scoping,
Scope of the review.
Scope, yeah.
Scope of work.
Scoping, scoping items. All right, and then also for you to assist staff in finding and locating contacts for the appropriate or comparable agencies that would participate in this. And it might even include one person from Skagit, one person from, let's say, Whatcom, one person from Grays Harbor or whatever else, so that we have maybe different agencies here at the same time giving us the guidance and sharing their experiences with this before we get going down the road. Is that clear? Is that what we're telling them to do?
Well, I thought we were going to do a comprehensive review.
That's just what I said.
Yeah. Where we look at the 411 and the 412, right, within that.
In addition, I mean,
As part of that comprehensive
as part,
review, but you
yeah.
can look, see them each
Yeah.
separately, that you're developing the scoping type questions that we'd like to have answered, and we may have some more after we meet with those transit department heads. And now you made me forget my question. Oh, now we keep saying Skagit and Whatcom County as our partnering counties in terms of, but why aren't we talking about Skagit and Snohomish? Because our largest private employer is Boeing. So if we're really talking about connector services, I think that it's Snohomish and Skagit that we need to speak
Well,
with the.
Jill, we talked about the Tri-County,
I understand that.
and we talked about the 412. That takes in.
I know, but if we're going to talk about different fare collecting services to figure out how we're going to link up, our greatest linkage need is with Snohomish, even more so than with Skagit. We don't think that because we're on the north end, but workforce-wise, Camino and South Whidbey are all commuting into Snohomish County. And so I want to make sure that if we're talking about systems that need to work together and link together, that we're talking to our two linkage partners, which are Skagit and Snohomish. And if Whatcom has a lot to add, that's great, but that's Skagit's providing that connection. So once we connect with Skagit, that's all.
Good point.
All right. Have we thoroughly confused you?
No, we kind of, and I think that we would respond and include all three of them. I mean, I don't think there's a disadvantage in
it's not that they're wrong.
Good job.
All right. We've backed our way through that.
Okay.
So,
Timeline, Rick,
timeline.
as far as getting these pieces,
Next regular meeting?
timeline as far as what the board would like, when the board would like to see deliverables.
What if we need to move the next workshop?
Time sensitive.
to our next workshop.
But maybe we need to move that date.
Well, let's take a look at that. You need to be here for that.
Yeah, it looks like we're, I didn't know about that.
I think it might be Saturday. I think it is your budget workshop.
Tuesday, Board of Health meeting.
And the next regular board meeting is September 25th.
Or maybe we want to move the workshop by a week, or would that help?
7th is Labor Day, but it doesn't mean that it has to be on Monday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Why did they remember both on the board, why did they put all these budget meetings on
This
this?
budget went in before we added all these workshops, and we're on a strict budget schedule, because that's our primary
Okay.
job. Not that I don't love my business.
We have our own budget also. too.
We can just look for a different day. Maybe.
What does September 16th look like for you?
That's a
Work session.
work session, the budget, the budget, 18th is.
We're gonna have some problems in September, October on the budget, and we're less flexible than usual. We might have to move without it.
It's making a workshop, a sincere workshop item, no action taken, because typically workshops don't have action taken, right? It goes to consent
We
agenda.
have on Thursday, the
Thursday the 17th, it says budget 2 to 4.
17th. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 2 to 4 in the afternoon, it says.
What does everybody
17th.
2 to 4:30.
else have on the 17th?
Yes,
17th works for me.
See here, it says all day.
In the morning on Tuesday the 17th, Thursday the 17th.
Yeah.
So it's our budget.
How does that
Yeah.
work for the rest of
We
you?
do that 9:30 in the morning on the 17th?
Can the other people, I can, yes.
I can,
What about people getting here by 9:30? Maybe 10 o'clock's better.
9:30.
Okay.
I'd like to say 8 o'clock.
Well, I was thinking of people coming from the other counties, not myself.
Maybe May can do that, work on doing some of the outreach, and then we can figure out if that, what
Well, you
time
know,
on that day works.
Sometime between 9:30 and 10:30 works for me if we can bracket that, or even if they have to come in earlier.
Jill and I have to be back to the courthouse at 2.
Sure.
So maybe
So
earlier
that's-
is better, so, because these meetings are long,
Yeah,
lots of conversation, and this will be a talking meeting, so. Maybe workshop. So you want me to try, how about 9? Is that
No,
crazy?
as a member of the press, I have to object to any meeting earlier than 9:30 because I come from Skagit and 9:30 is really the earliest you can have it and I can be here for the Weepy Daily. In fact, I prefer it was at 10 o'clock. So
you know,
I have to
I've just
kind
got to
of
say,
object.
for you and for Jesse and for anybody else, we can't canvass the neighborhood for what time is going to work. It's a board workshop. It's our opportunity to do the pre-transit district meeting in the public. And so I'm not discounting your need.
The
but
public's representatives can't be here if you have it too early.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
I think we're
being
talking about
untransparent.
a window between 9:30 and 10:30.
It's open to the public, though.
That's not good enough.
Okay,
for us
I'm
to
going to
meet.
hold up that conversation right now. We're not taking any comments from the public. Okay, so let's get back on our agenda here.
So maybe you want to work out the
Sure.
details?
I'll touch base with these guys
Okay.
and set up.
So we're going to bracket time between 9:30 and 10:30.
Thanks.
Get on that ferry now, right?
All right. So
So the 17th, I'm sorry,
the 17th
Time.
workshop, sometime between 9:30 and 10:30, you're going to coordinate that. And you're going to coordinate with Ken and with DOT and whoever else you kind of bring to the party on this thing. And we'll, I don't know that we have anything else on that agenda schedule?
Not for the workshop.
Let's focus on this item only, so we don't have a bunch of other distractions. This item takes a lot of time.
But for clarification, does the board want to also see the system-wide comprehensive review at that time, or a draft of it, or how much?
I don't think that's what, I don't think you can prepare that in that period of time. This is to get us kind of started. This is where we're going. We want to hear what the other districts are doing, and based on that, you're probably going to have more information, better information from us. Yeah, I'm not looking for a work product at that point.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
That work?
I got it.
Got it, Jill, Rick,
Yep,
Jackie,
in there.
thank you, Jackie, I'll talk for you.
I'm fine,
Okay.
I'm fine.
Works for you?
I'm just gonna block that one.
All right, this concludes the agenda item for number 5, the fair study proposal presentation by Brian Lagerberg, District Public Transportation Division, WashDOT, and Jerry Beardsley.
Very good.
And Ryan Warner. Yep, I got it. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks for
Thanks a
having
lot for helping us with this. And I keep looking back there when I ask questions, and I got 3 heads that they're going like that. I know I'm kind of.
They all go the same way.
He has strings on her.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
All right, so we have item number 6, and that's a discussion regarding Route 12, the Everett Connector. And I think we have that
did that. We
discussion.
moved to item number 2. Or 3.
That was number 6.
And we moved it to,
It was 3, we changed it to 6, it was the last item, we included that in
So
this
it's
conversation.
part of the overall.
Yeah, and so the next item here, we have an executive session. I'm going to ask everyone to leave the room because the room that we have available for our executive session is occupied. We're doing something else with it, and we have an executive session regarding collective bargaining sessions. No action will be taken here, and then we will be out for how much time do we need to discuss this again? 15 minutes? 15 minutes. So at 20 after, we'll resume, and anybody who is interested to be here, you can wait outside for us or whatever, and we'll conclude following that.
So there'll be no further business.
There will be no further business, and we will not be taking any action.
We already did that. We already took action without public comment.
Just saved our butts with me jumping in there. They wanted to push it earlier, like 7 a.m.
Push it earlier.
Thanks, buddy.
get it?
Put that back in there.
Don't you hate them things?
I know, right? Because they stick all over the place.
Yep.
The door
They
open.
don't